How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be running through the Monday agenda. That is all the news you have to look out for Celtic this week. Before I get started, thank you to everyone who has subscribed so far. If you haven't subscribed, there's about 80% of you watching the video that aren't subscribed to my videos. Just hit the subscribe button below. You'll get notified every time a video goes live. Let's get into it. So this is the Monday agenda. It's everything to look out for from the weekend and news you might have missed and news to look forward to this week. So as you can see on the right hand side, we're talking about the Motherwell win, we're talking about the Wolf off Celtic Park, we're talking about the new director of football if reports are to be believed, and we're looking ahead to the St Mirren game this Wednesday night. So let's start with the Motherwell win, 2-1 at Celtic Park. Stephen Welsh with his first career goal for the senior team, and Odsonne Edouard with a lovely second goal. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this game because, again, we're so far behind in the league that these sort of wins don't really bring all that much joy. So just generally on the performance, it was a run-of-the-mill performance, nothing special, nothing amazing, didn't blow Motherwell out of the park, and to be honest, Motherwell probably could have equalised near the end, and arguably the ball was nearly over the line at the very end on the 90-something minute when it was cleared off the line by Diego Laxalt. In general, let's talk about Stephen Welsh first of all. He's starting to grow in a little bit of confidence. You can see he's growing into the role, and you really think that he should be starting now until the end of the season instead of Shane Duffy. If Chris Julian's not going to be back, then you may as well stick Stephen Welsh in them. Get him bred, get him ready, get him fit, and get him ready for first team football because he's going to be playing there next year unless Celtic bring in a centre back. I thought he was pretty good. Again, he will grow in confidence, and as he kind of bulks up a little bit, hopefully he'll get a lot better. I don't know if he's the quality Celtic need at centre back at the minute, but he's definitely better than Shane Duffy's playing at the minute. So it was good to see him getting a goal, and it was a great ball in as well from the corner. In terms of second goal, absolutely lovely goal. It was almost like watching a goal from the Brendan Rodgers era, just pinging the ball about, moving the ball quickly, first touch, one touch, second touch into the box. Odsonne Edouard with a lovely finish. So that is how you want to see Celtic playing, and it was great to see them playing that way again. But again, defensively and from set pieces and from crosses into the box, they're absolutely terrible. Scott Bain probably should have did better with the goal, but listen, he's probably going to be out of the goal this week when it comes to the St Mirren game because of that one mistake. So it's goalkeeper bingo at the minute at Celtic Park. So Scott Bain, I'm not going to give him too much criticism. Should have saved it. That's the end of. He will probably be dropped for that. So I don't know how a keeper's supposed to get any form at Celtic. One mistake and you seem to be out. So I'm not going to give him too much stick for it. He should have saved it. That's the end off. Let's move on to the Wolf off Celtic Park. The reason I'm doing that, calling it that, is because Neil Lennon, again, in his press conference, coming off like Jordan Belfort, he hits back at criticism is the headline that most of the newspapers have gone in Scotland. So I'll read through the quotes, and it almost is like Jordan Belfort's going away speech where he's like, I'm not fucking leaving. So let's start with, he genuinely, sometimes Neil Lennon starts off with things and I'm like, yeah, he's making a load of sense here. And then he goes off on a tangent and you come out of the press conference thinking, what the were you thinking saying all that stuff? So let's start off. He's talking about the criticism of the players, the criticism of the team, and the criticism of himself as well. So he starts off, it's been a difficult one. I've been to the players' houses, not inside, but I've been chatting to them and their partners, just trying to support and encourage them. The difficulties are now exclusive to us. Everyone is going through the same thing. It's not just about football, it's also about their health and well-being. It's important for the manager to stay on top of that, particularly in a season of abnormal as this one. It was something I felt was required with the level of abuse, criticism, whatever you want to call it. They're human beings at the end of the day. So that's fine. I actually agree with him. A lot of the personal abuse has been uncalled for. I think online abuse and social media for footballers, and you're seeing a lot of the Man United players, especially with the racism that's going on at the minute, call it out, and that's rightly so. I don't believe in picking one player and going after him, and I don't believe in personal attacks. You judge a player on what he does on the pitch, so going after a player on a personal basis is completely out of form. So I completely agree with Neil Lennon here. But then he goes into the Jordan Belfort. Then he goes into the Neil Lennon that we know. If he stopped there, that would have been fine. But here is what Neil Lennon has done. And I realise the sort of hypocrisy of me going after Neil Lennon after saying that, but I'm judging him on representing the club, not on Neil Lennon the person. Neil Lennon the person, the human being, is out of it. I'm judging him as the manager of the club, as a representative of Celtic, and how he makes the club look in these press conferences. So here's where he started going wrong. So it's a sign of the times. It's not just objective anymore. It's personal. People don't see you, or choose not to see you, as a human being. The criticism is a lot harsher now. That's why I'm a lot more guarded in the media. Sometimes I think I'm boring when I do press interviews, so I don't give too much away. People analyze everything you say, or are selective in their quotes and use it against you later. I've seen it with other people, peers of mine. Some court public opinion to get more followers on, or to get clickbait. These people have sold their souls a little bit. I am happy with the way that I've dealt with things. My conscience is clear, and how I've gone about my work as well. It certainly galvanized me, yes, in a perverse kind of way. I kind of enjoy it. So breaking down that is pretty difficult, because there's a lot in there. Clearly he's having a go at some of the ex-football players who are now pundits when it comes to the peers of mine, so that bit is clear. In terms of the line where he says, sometimes I think I'm boring in the media, either Neil Lennon doesn't read the newspapers, or doesn't listen back to himself, or his idea of boring is completely different to what mine is, because by God, he is the media's dream this year, because he doesn't keep his mouth shut. In terms of the Dubai thing, I mean, was he boring then? Was he holding his tongue then? What is he holding back if going after the players and going almost launching personal attacks on the players himself after the games? What's boring about that? He's not being boring. Boring answers is giving nothing away. Neil Lennon has given so much away in such a short period of time that's unbelievable. And that for me is like, that's like, why didn't he stop when he was talking about, you know, going to the players' houses and they're human beings and all that there? That's a boring answer. You're giving the media more substance now with those 4 or 5 paragraphs where you talk about it galvanizes me and the criticism's too far, and so that is not a boring interview. That is giving the media all the quotes that they want to run, and run with the headline of Neil Lennon hits back at the criticism. That you're creating the clickbait by going at that. So that's where Neil Lennon has gone this week. It's embarrassing at this point. I wish he would keep his mouth shut. Moving on to number 3, and this report is new as of today or last night. There is reports that Celtic are eyeing up Frank Harkin, a Donegal man, for the director of football role. So Frank Harkin is apparently being lined up to be the new director of football at Celtic Park, according to The Sun, and he is Man City's football partnership manager. Prior to that, he was a player for Leicester City under Martin O'Neill, and he moved to the marketing department of Man City in 2009. So what does he do at City? So in the reports, he is being tagged the transfer guru at Man City, but his role is basically overseeing the loan operations in Man City. So making sure the players who are out on loan are playing well, monitoring their progress, making sure they have everything they need, and if they're not working out at that club, bringing them back to the club. So one thing to note here is that he would have been at City when Patrick Roberts, when Olivier Ntcham moved from Man City to Celtic, so he would have been involved in those sort of dealings with Celtic in the first place, and also would have been monitoring how they're getting on at this club. So he has prior with Celtic. He's a Donegal man, so obviously I'm going to give him brownie points for that. Other than that, that's all I really have to say about him. That's who he is. That's what he does. Will he bring a new voice and a new sort of view at Celtic? He definitely will, because a club needs a director of football in this modern era. They can't just have the manager making all the decisions. Is he going to be good? I'm not going to say whether he's going to be good or bad, because I don't know. I don't know too much about him. He will be judged on his work at Celtic, and that's, as Neil Lennon said, judge him by the work that he does and not by the human. So I don't know who he is. So I do think that Celtic need a director of football. I do think that his CV certainly matches up where you want to go. and we shall see. It's only reports for now, so again, you can only speculate. But one thing that I will say on this is that in the new Brexit era, where there will not be as many players coming in on deals from Europe, and there will be more loan deals than buy deals, or even just long-term payments as opposed to paying up front, then he certainly has done it at the biggest club in England at the minute, or second biggest at the minute, and a club where they have a massive loan strategy, because across the globe they have 5 or 6 different clubs that work together. So he has worked with a massively global brand, and obviously they've been really successful because Man City have won multiple league titles in the last decade. So on paper, he certainly looks like a good addition to the team, or to the club. But it's reports, if he's signed, I'll do a bigger deep dive into him, who he is and what he's going to bring to the club. So I do think that looks on paper like a decent enough get for Celtic if they do manage to nail him down to the director of football role. And finally, before I finish up, the St Mirren game this Wednesday. St Mirren obviously beat Celtic last week, and one thing that we did on the Huddle Breakdown was break down the issues that Celtic had against St Mirren. St Mirren definitely deserved their win in Celtic Park, so that's it's going to be a difficult one again, but I think that Celtic should change from the diamond this week against St Mirren. Diamond has been working. It obviously gives Cal McGregor a little bit more freedom to go forward. You see with the number 10s, you can play Tom Rogic there and drop Turnbull back a little bit, or you can play Turnbull in that role and bring someone else into the midfield, and you obviously play 2 strikers up front. Why I would change from it is because there are certain things that the diamond is suited for, and playing against the diamond, one thing that you can do is narrow the game a lot, and that's what St Mirren did against Celtic last week when they beat them. They narrowed the game. They forced Celtic out wide because they knew that the fullbacks couldn't get any crosses into the box, or at least they weren't that good at it. So Celtic should change it a little bit and get a couple of people out wide so that they can play triangles and actually work the ball into the box as opposed to crossing it in. So I think maybe not the 3-5-2 because that doesn't work. So I do think they just need to change it. I'll do a preview of that show on Wednesday. So I'll look at the players who are fit, and I'll look at the players who are coming in. One thing that I do want to note is that James Forrest is back for Celtic in training, or he's coming back this week. That will be a massive boost, because I think that it's notable when you see Celtic's form drop completely off a cliff when he's not there. They just didn't have enough people down that right hand side to bring in and change it up a bit. And a lot of people aren't James Forrest's big fan. That's fair enough. I get it. He's a bit wasteful at times, but he brings an energy and he brings a different role to that side, because at the minute Celtic only have Ryan Christie, John Joe Kenny. That's really about it. It looks like El Ahmed is going out the door as well. So at the minute they need someone down that right flank. So it's great to see that James Forrest is coming back. So I do think he will be a good addition back into that Celtic squad to finish out the season. The season's over, but you would like to see Celtic push on from here and just claw back some credibility before the end of the season. Although the worry for me if they do that is that Neil Lennon will be here by the end of the season. What do you think? Who do you think Celtic should start against St Mirren this Wednesday? Is there anything that you want on the Monday agenda? I will talk about most things that are going on currently. And do you think Celtic need a director of football, and who should that be? Do you think that Harkin would be a good addition to the club? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Enda Call. Thanks for watching.